Welcome to In the Money, sponsored by Flyer Financial Technologies, the company that builds cutting-edge technology designed to solve asset and wealth management firms' toughest trading workflows. In this podcast, we help advisors and asset managers understand how technology is transforming the wealth tech sector. We'll cover how to leverage technology for faster, smarter investment decisions, megatrends, and more. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Rusty Sommer, and I'm fortunate enough to be joined today by my friend Kartik Srinivasan from Advizon. If you don't know Flyer FT, we power the Fintech you love and use every day. So I think the question that I'm going to start with today is, what if your technology could anticipate your clients' needs before they even knew them? And forget everything you thought you knew about advisor technology. Advizon is changing the game with the latest innovation. And we got the inside scoop. So, Kartik, hi, how are you?
Good. Great to be here, Rusty.
Good. Well, thanks for being here. For those who don't know, Kartik is president of Advizon Institutional, where he's responsible for developing solutions for family offices and wealth managers serving ultra-high net worth clients. So there's been a lot going on in your world. I think you've had a very prominent roles in the industry, and you've been at Advizon. Advizon has had a really interesting product launch recently. So let's start with ARIA. Let's dive deep into what those features are and what the benefits of ARIA are to your clients.
So, Advizon has, over the last 10 years, built a very sophisticated platform for advisors. We've slowly added a lot of the key capabilities advisors are looking for. So we started out with portfolio accounting, billing, reporting, added CRM, then added trading and rebalancing, portal, document management, all of that. So that has resulted in a lot of success being on a unified code base, single database. And what we've done is taken that model, and feedback that we receive from a lot of our clients are, hey, some of our clients are ultra high net worth. They've got more complexity in their life. They want to track non-standard assets. Can you help us with that? And that is what ARIA is a solution for our wealth managers and family offices that are looking for a more sophisticated platform that can handle the complexities that come with significant wealth. So the ability to kind of take care of those complexities and intricate entities, report on a holistic picture of a client's wealth, whether it's standard assets or non-standard assets.
It sounds like it solves a lot of problems for advisors and really helps them enhance their workflows. And I think that particularly when you get into that ultra high net worth space, there are these additional complexities that they're having to deal with. What are some of the specific things within those workflows or within those kind of broader problems that are being solved for?
Yeah, so some of the things are, it has to do with the types of assets that are owned. With the ultra high net worth clients, they tend to hold assets that are private equity, hedge funds, private credit. There's also a allocation to direct investments, whether it's owning a piece of real estate or a multifamily unit properties, or they have direct holdings in a local business, right? There's all these different types of assets, and advisors are looking for ways to consolidate all that wealth for their clients and present them with a unified balance sheet of, here's your complete wealth, here's how it's doing, and here's how we can help manage it. So that's one key piece that we're doing, is just providing the ability for wealth managers to be able to track those esoteric assets, maybe some passion assets. Think of like a car collection, baseball card collection. We're starting to see more advisors go after niche opportunities where clients have significant amount of wealth in assets that are non-traditional. So that's one key piece of what we're doing, is capturing the full picture of a client's wealth. And then we're beefing up things like reporting, just allowing advisors to be able to report better on non-traditional assets, whether it's private equity, hedge funds, real estate, et cetera. So those are a couple of examples of what ARIA is doing for advisors.
Gotcha. So I suspect that there's a broader strategy here within Advizon and the launch of ARIA. How does ARIA fit into Advizon's broader product suite and your vision for the future of advice?
Yeah, so ARIA is really a standalone product that's targeted at that segment of the market that serves the ultra high net worth. So think of single family offices or multifamily offices whose average client size is pretty significant. Advizon is a great product, but it's geared more towards your traditional RIA firms that serve the mass affluent to the high net worth. once we start seeing advisors serve that ultra high net worth, we think Aurea is going to be a better fit for them because of the capabilities that are tailor made for the types of clients that advisors who are serving those ultra high net worth clients. So that's what Aurea is going to be positioned for, those types of advisors. And Aurea includes everything that Advizon does and builds on top of that with what I've described, with those complexities for handling that significant wealth client.
Oh, super interesting. I think, as I hit the conference circuit and I'm fortunate enough to talk to some really interesting people, even outside of that, and see, what they're working on strategy. I think there certainly is a need around having more integrated solutions that can serve a broader range of clients. I remember my time at AssetMark. We found, as a TAMP even, that there were these pockets of really concentrated wealth. Not even necessarily in the big cities. It might be in somewhere, in the middle of nowhere. And we found that advisors were really struggling with having solutions to support those relationships. And so we found that once we provided them with relationships, they could then compete with, the Goldman office in Chicago or whatever, because the client really wanted the relationship. So I suspect there's probably a little bit of that going on. So, your new role at Advizon, newly created, and I think people within the industry have been really interested in where you've ended up and why you went there. So talk to me a little bit about what your new role is and generally what your responsibilities are there at Advizon.
Yeah, sure. So I've really been following the Advizon journey since day one. I used to work with the founder and CEO back in my Morningstar days, as well as a lot of the other leadership team who's currently at Advizon. I've been watching from afar just how great they've been, how they've built their product, seen tremendous success and growth over the years. And then when an opportunity presented itself earlier this year, I really wanted to get back into fintech. That's kind of where I was most passionate about helping advisors. And so Advizon was doing great things. They had a great vision for where they wanted to go into the future. And so it was a great decision for me. It checked a lot of the boxes that I was looking for my next journey. And so I joined them earlier this year. So it's been a great 10 months or so.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the future.
So when everybody joins a new firm, they're learning a lot, right? And I would be interested, to hear from you now that you've been there 10 months. What's your perspective on the company's direction? And how do you think, particularly you joining the organizations, to help contribute to growth?
Yeah, so we've definitely been seeing a lot of growth in the recent years as we've evolved our platform. It's more comprehensive. It's really solving a lot of challenges that advisors have, which is managing various pieces of technology and trying to integrate these pieces of technology together, which has always been a challenge. And we can chat about that a little bit more.
Sure.
But in my particular role, I'm going to be focused on really taking our business and product into a new segment of the market. So as I mentioned, Advizon's had a lot of success in the RIA space, but we do see a need in the ultra high net worth space as well. So that single family, multifamily office area. And so we want to take the success formula that's resulted in Advizon really growing rapidly in the RIA space and bring that into the family office, ultra high net worth market, where we can consolidate different pieces of technology into one singular unified experience and really provide clients a unified picture of their wealth, all with a very modern client experience. So that's really where we're taking my business, the institutional business with Aurea, and that's going to be a big driver of our growth in the future.
Making the decision or having that perspective certainly is coming from a probably viewpoint where you have some ideas about what the themes are going forward in the industry and what the trends might be. So what kind of insights could you share on the major trends shaping the wealth management landscape?
Right here at the Market Council Summit, we've been talking about a lot of those trends. One is this huge generational transfer of wealth from the baby boomer generation to the next generation. So a lot of advisors, service providers are really trying to figure out how they can help with that transfer. We hear a lot of statistics about the close to $100+ trillion in assets. It's just such a mind-boggling number that's going to be transferred in the next several years. And so I think some of those trends what we know is the next generation, the younger generation, they have a certain expectation of how they want to interact with a advisor, how they want to interact with technology, and how they want to interact and get advice. And so we've seen a lot of change in the industry around how advice is delivered, how the technology solutions have really upped their game when it comes to the client experience, taking a page from popular apps like Netflix or Uber and just trying to bring that digital experience into the wealth tech space. So that's one big trend, is that whole generational transfer and how advisors and position their clients and how service providers can better serve those advisors. Another key piece is we're just seeing a growth in alternative investments.
Sure.
Each year, the amount of assets allocated to alternatives just keeps increasing, and it's certainly very high in the ultra high net worth space, where you can see somewhere like 30+% of those clients allocating to alts. Alts are coming down market. It's becoming more accessible. So that is another huge trend that we're seeing. And we actually just recently announced this week that we have a partnership with iCapital, one of the leading providers in the alternative space. And that is a result of our clients asking for better access to alternatives and bringing that data into Advise On for reporting. I would say the other big trend is artificial intelligence.
Sure.
Every conference has multiple sessions talking about artificial intelligence. Actually, I'll be talking about it here soon in just the next hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
And so looking forward to that discussion. The advisor market, I think the wealth management space tends to be a little slower to adopt new technology, and AI is no different. But I think 2025, I think, is going to be a turning point for the use and adoption of AI in our industry.
Yeah. Technology, I think the pace of change in technology continues to increase. And we see new technologies coming out all the time. There's just such a rapid pace of advancement. How do the evolving needs of clients and how advisors can adapt? I mean, how does that relate to some of the new technologies that are out there?
Yeah, I mean, if you see the proliferation of fintech in the advisor space, it's just exploded, right? I think everybody talks about the fintech map that Michael Kitces puts out, and that's just grown over the years. What we've really seen is personalization is another key theme that's resulted in a growth in the number of tech providers serving advisors. So what I mean by that is it used to be that the main categories of technology for advisors were CRM, portfolio accounting, and financial planning. Those were the big three. And those are still, I would say, the key pieces of technology. But there's so many different providers that are now within, I would say, subcategories of those major capabilities. And that's because of the personalization that advisors are trying to provide their clients. So for instance, we see a tremendous growth in like the financial planning category for things like income distribution planning, retirement planning, college planning, tax planning. And so there's dozens and dozens of fintech providers that have popped up that are doing a great job serving advisors and providing that specialized planning. So, that's a result of the trend that is for the personalization of advice and how can advisors provide their clients with a better experience. So I would say that's one thing that we've really seen in the industry is that tremendous growth in the number of fintech solutions, which is just great to see. And I don't think that's going to be slowing down anytime soon.
No, not at all. And I read an interesting article this past week that talked about fintech, and it's really becoming a hot place for really talented technologists to come. And I think over the years, people are like, well, why do I want to work at JP Morgan? Or why do I want to work at Advise On when I could go out to Silicon Valley and I could work in one of these cool places? But now there's really some cachet to being able to come and work in this industry. There's a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of really innovative, interesting technologies that are being developed and solutions that are being provided that I think we're starting to attract an even higher level of talent to what we do, because you and I are both technologists. We've both been technologists for a long time, whether or not we've been product owners or whatnot. We've really, our roles have really revolved around technology. And so I'm rather excited about that. I don't know, do you see something similar?
Yeah, there's so much. Also, it has to do with the capital that's entered the space. There are better funded companies. There's a lot of private equity that's entering the space, and so that has resulted in the ability for a talented technologist to leave an institution like an Apple or a Google or JP Morgan and then come into the fintech space where it's new, exciting. They can build something from the ground up. And it's potentially very rewarding for them if they are able to get that traction and the funding.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned you're on an AI panel today. Summarize what the key topics and discussions that you've been planning for that panel here at the Market Council Summit are, and who else is kind of joining you in that journey today?
Yeah, it's an interesting panel moderated by John O'Connell, who heads up Oasis Group, which is a consulting firm. Alongside me, we have Oleg from Invent, who's going to be offering a lot of, I'm sure, color commentary about AI. And then we've got Devon from AssetLink. So really excited about the panel. And really the topics are going to be all around why it is important for advisors to adopt AI, how they can go about creating an AI policy, setting up the governance for AI, and then really what are some examples of use cases that are going to be actionable for them. They can leave the conference and go to their offices and start implementing something today or tomorrow in the space of AI to get those efficiencies. And then what's coming down the line? Like this space is, a lot of people say, well, I don't know how many, if it's a lot anymore, but it used to be a lot of people would say, well, AI is kind of like it's just a trend. It's not going to be, it's like the robo-advisor trend.
Sure.
But it's fundamentally different. It is a fundamental shift in how technology can really help scale what humans do. And, we know that in the advisor space, advisors are always looking to scale their business and get more efficient. And AI is going to be a key part of that for them. So we'll talk a lot about how AI can support the growth of the entire profession.
Right. My perspective has been that AI has been a little bit of a science fair project for a lot of firms. Everybody understands they need to do something with, but finding that actionable piece has been a little bit challenging. But that's changing really fast. And there are some easy ways people can implement that. And I think there are some actionable things you can do right away. It doesn't have to be a huge thing for you right away. Like you don't have to sink your ship to jump in. There are some really small things you can do that make huge impacts on how you work. What are your perspectives on the role of AI in financial advice?
Yeah, so there's definitely a big role for AI to play there. I mean, the way I look at it is anytime there is a digital task that needs to be done, and then there's like a clear set of instructions, AI can do it for them. And so with financial advice, it is, you can do a lot of things around portfolio optimization, research, screening. You can even do things like prospecting, lead scoring. There's just a lot of like mundane sort of work that humans are doing today, or technology is being used, but maybe not in a very smart way, where AI can come in and really help provide better insights, help provide more actionable information for advisors to be able to scale advice and provide that to their clients. So there's just limitless possibilities in terms of what it can do beyond the simple use cases of just using ChatGPT to craft a better email or proofread something, but which is definitely helpful.
It's helpful.
But there's just so much more that can be done using the power of the various new technologies that are coming out there.
Yeah. I've been using Google Gemini recently, and just even trying things like summarize all my emails that I haven't read in the last 3 days and let me know which ones are most important.
Yep.
It comes back with some information. I'm like, sometimes useful, sometimes it's not, but it has been interesting. I have found some very good use cases where I've been able to save hours in my day in kind of preparation work and being able to kind of gather information on people I'm going to meet with. And it's been pretty insightful, and it's a little scary sometimes how much it really knows. So that's been one of the things. What do you think maybe some of the challenges and benefits are for those who are adopting AI?
Yeah, I would say the challenge is going to be, first of all, no matter what kind of firm you're at, whether you're at a advisory firm, fintech firm, service provider of any kind, people are using AI at your firm. Whether you know it or not, they are using AI for a variety of tasks. So This is one thing we will talk about in our panel today is like the fact that you need to have an AI policy to set some ground rules around
Sure.
what's going on at your firm and how you should use AI. So I would say one challenge is starting to understand that AI is powerful, but it can also be you don't want to put client data if you're worried about privacy of your
Privacy, sure.
client
Yeah.
information. You want to make sure that you're using the right AI models if you are going to be putting private information in there. So just those are just a few things to think about. It's just make sure you clearly outline like what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to using technology like ChatGPT and other large language models where you're just inputting a bunch of information. And so we work in an industry which is dealing with other people's money
Right.
and sensitive information. So we just need to be a little careful about that. So that's one thing. The other challenge is, AI is still it's learning. It's getting better over time. You just have to not place 100% trust in the results from AI.
Mhm.
So you need to kind of review what the outputs are, ensure that it is not just accurate but makes sense before you like send off something to a client
Right.
or so that's just something that it will get better over time, but it's not perfect. So that's it's an evolving process to ensure that we get the most out of it. I would say those are some of the things that you just need to keep in mind.
Yeah, gotcha. No, it makes a ton of sense. So we've talked a little bit about the future, and what's your prediction for wealth management in 2025?
I would say we're going to see a lot of the continuing trends around M&A activity, consolidation. There's a lot of private equity money that's fueling a lot of growth in firms. We're going to see bigger and bigger firms. Where everybody's talking about when is the next $1 trillion RIA going to pop up? It's just a matter of when. So that's a continuing trend.
Sure.
We definitely are going to see the need to. Part of the trend around acquisitions is advisors need to be able to operationalize their business so that they are running an efficient practice and seeing organic growth and leveraging technology to get that scale in their business. And so we'll further see the use of technology proliferate to really help an advisory firm scale and run efficiently. And so the investment in technology is going to continue to increase, which is definitely a good thing. We're still seeing advisors out there who are using potentially legacy, outdated technology, and we'll see a lot of those firms start to modernize and go with some of the latest technology. And then we've talked about AI. I think
Sure.
again, AI is going to be a very big trend in 2025, and so my prediction there is we'll just see more and more technology that is leveraging AI to provide advisors that benefit, be an assistant to them, and take over a lot of tasks that typically employees are handling today, so that advisors and their employees and staff can focus on servicing their clients better.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Technology is going to continue to evolve, and there are going to be direct impacts to advisors and advisory firms that should benefit, their relationships with clients and help them, I think connect more deeply. What are some key strategies and skills advisors need to succeed in the coming years?
I would say in terms of strategies and skills, it all depends on the types of roles within the advisory firm. We're on the topic of technology and AI. So I would say one key thing that advisors need is someone in their firm who can be the AI evangelist or the technology evangelist. It's hard to be an expert in AI, but if you designate a person or a team to really be the ones who experiment with technology, experiment with AI, and then report back to the broader firm, that is something that I think will benefit all firms in terms of a effective way to use technology, an effective way to use AI to really scale and help their business. And then outside of that, I would say there's from a technology lens, there's a challenge where we talked about this a little bit, but with the growth in technology, the proliferation of technology tools, there's this integration challenge, which is you have all these disparate technology providers out there. that are talking to each other, but it's not perfect. And so there's this challenge of just the overhead of managing all these different pieces of technology and the data flowing back and forth, which causes a lot of headaches for advisors. As your firm grows, you need more technology, and more technology means more integration points, more points of failure potentially.
Sure.
So I would say there needs to be a strategy around how to best manage technology and the integrations, and whether you choose a provider that consolidates a lot of technology together, or if you keep investing in building out kind of separate technology solutions for your firm. So those are some considerations.
How has the ability to integrate matured over the last few years?
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better with the use of APIs. It used to be that data, 5, 10 plus years ago, and still to this day, there's data feeds, like actual files that are being passed between providers. That has changed quite a bit with the cloud systems out there. Everyone's on the cloud, and everyone's got APIs that can connect with each other. But it's not perfect because there's no standards in our industry around APIs. If a solution wants the client's positions and accounts from one system to go into another, there is no industry standard for what that API should look like. So each firm kind of builds their own best version of that API, but without that standard, you can't easily move from one system to the other and expect to get the same kind of information. So that's sort of a persistent challenge in the industry, is that while integrations are better, API use is getting better, it still does not result in the expected benefits that advisors think they're going to get from integrations. So that's just something to keep in mind. Do your due diligence, figure out how those integrations work, what kind of data is going to be passed over, how frequently, before you sort of move forward with a new piece of technology.
Yeah. At Flyer, we're a technology company at heart, and we have a very robust API layer that we can expose to our clients. And I guess I share some of your sentiment on, the quality and formality of some of the APIs. And sometimes things work great, and we can have clients who, are brand new and kind of they're up and running in a matter of weeks. And then, we have other situations where, and I've got one right now, where it's like, one API layer is much more mature than the others. And, maybe one's good at passing information one way, but when it starts bouncing back and forth like a ping pong ball, it gets to be more complicated. And so I totally feel you. And I think that, as an industry, we've probably come a very long way in the last 5 or 10 years. And, the idea of best in class 10 or 15 years ago was really almost impossible, to have a truly integrated system. And now things have gotten better, but there's still a long ways to go to really find that nirvana in place where it happens easily. So any final comments anyway? Maybe you want to leave kind of another idea or another tidbit about Advizon and how you're working with clients before we head out?
Yeah, I would say that, first of all, we appreciate our partnership with Flyer. We've got a great ability to kind of provide tons of efficiencies for advisors to grow and scale their business through seamless trading. So appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you.
And in terms of final parting thoughts, I would say that the industry continues to evolve rapidly and in a positive way for a lot of folks because of just the growth that we've seen in the RIA model. It is the successful model. It's not slowing down. We see that RIA assets are going to be in the many, many trillions of dollars into the future. And so we've got a great set of great growth behind us. And growth comes with challenges, but it's all fun problems that we're here to solve as technologists, as well as advisors who are here to solve the advice problem. And so, 2025 proves to be a good year. Advizon is going to be hosting our second annual conference. So we hope to see many, many advisors and partners there. And we're really excited about the growth that we have ahead of us and the new products and offerings and serving different segments. So appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And looking forward to seeing you at the conference coming up. So for everybody, thanks for joining today's episode of In the Money. I'm your host, Rusty Sommer. I'm fortunate enough to have been joined by my friend Kartik Srinivasan of Advizon Institutional. If you don't know Flyer FT, we power the fintech you love and use every day. Thanks, Kartik.
Yep. Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you for listening to In the Money. the show that delivers advisors, asset managers, broker-dealers, and other technology service providers the knowledge they need to navigate this industry. Don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Flyer Financial Technologies. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only.